Chris Kyle is the U.S. Navy SEAL sniper currently on a very important mission in a third world country. He is on the rooftop of a building, studying the path of a U.S. convoy that might be in danger. Everything seems smooth until a Muslim woman carrying something underneath her burqa appears in Kyle's view. She hands a grenade to a kid which he takes towards the convoy, presumably to attack it. Chris gets the green light to shoot the kid, but his values put him in a dilemma. Seconds later, a loud gunshot is heard and the scene cuts to Chur's childhood. He is in the woods hunting with his father. Ever since he was little he had a good aim, which makes his father think he will be a fine hunter one day. Chris's father lives by the principle that there are three types of people in the world: the sheep, the wolf, and the sheepdog. The sheep are the weak ones who cannot protect themselves, the wolves prey on the weak, and the sheepdogs are the ones who protect their flock. The man wants his son to be a sheepdog and protect his people from the wolves. Many years later, Chris turns into a young man but doesn't forget his father's words. He is now a rodeo cowboy living with his loving girlfriend Sarah. One night after a race, he returns home to Sarah and a man putting their clothes on. He beats up the man and kicks Sarah out of the house. Before leaving, she calls him a failed farmer who claims to be a so-called cowboy. Chris acts cool, but deep down, he knows she is right. He hasn't been the sheepdog that his father wanted him to be. After drinking all night with his brother, Chris comes across news about explosions happening in various U.S. embassies in different parts of the world. The hundreds of injured and dead Americans make his blood boil and give him a purpose in life. The very next day, he goes to Armed Force Career Assistance, wanting to join the service. The counselor admires his determination and suggests he join the SEALs, but not before stressing that most people looking to enter the SEALs quit in the first half. Chris keeps that in mind and joins the training. Apart from everything else, he is exceptionally good at target shooting and has the potential to become a skilled sniper. Fast forward, after a months-long extreme training, he finally passes the test and becomes a member of the SEALs. One night, Chris is enjoying a night out at a bar when he meets a beautiful woman named Taya. They instantly connect and end the night together in bed. As time goes by, they fall in love with each other and get married. On the wedding day, Chris and his fellow SEALs are informed that they are about to be deployed to Iraq. They celebrate the milestone and are excited about their first posting. Taya, however, is worried for her husband until he assures her he will return after 6 months. The troop is assigned to the city of Fallujah in Iraq and is stationed to protect the 1st Marines, who are going door-to-door in an evacuated city to look for terrorists. The scene changes to the beginning of the film when Chris is ready to shoot the kid. As the boy sprints towards the convoy, Chris fires and brings him down. The woman who gave the boy the grenade rushes to him and tries to continue the task. But Chris shoots her right through her chest and the grenade explodes far from the convoy. Everyone praises him for protecting the Marines inside the convoy who would be dead by now if it weren't for him. However, all Chris can think of is the dead boy. He never thought his first kill would be a little kid who probably didn't know what he was doing. As days pass, Chris continues protecting the troops from his position. He's the best sniper on his team, so determined that he urinates himself during the overwatch to avoid leaving his post. After a particular day at work, he gets a total of 6 kills, which is more than the combined total of all his teammates. They start calling him the legend, but in his heart, Chris questions if he is the opposite. Then one day, he gets a call from Taya, who surprises him by revealing she is pregnant. They start talking on the phone frequently, taking care of each other even though they aren't together. In the following scene, the sniper team is in a meeting where they are informed about an Al-Qaeda leader named Zarqawi. Their primary target is the leader and his lieutenants, so if they find anything suspicious related to his troop, they must act accordingly. The team continues the door-to-door search the next day while Chris protects them from afar. Everything goes smoothly until a soldier is injured. Chris takes it upon himself to join the search team while his fellow snipers watch over them. During the search, they find an Arabic sheikh with his family living in one of the houses that were supposed to be empty. The sheikh claims that they don't have anywhere else to go. He wants the Americans to go away because if the butcher catches them talking with the US soldiers, he will kill the entire family. The butcher turns out to be one of Zarqawi's subordinates who could be useful to find the main man. The sheikh who provided the information is promised a lot of money and a safe life somewhere else. The next day, a military vehicle moves out to meet the sheikh again. On their way, Taya calls Chris and informs him they are about to have a boy. As his fellow SEALs congratulate him, the driver is shot and killed. This is when we are introduced to a terrorist sniper, Mustafa. He is an Olympic gold medalist, known for making almost impossible shots, and is also the one who has attacked them. The absence of a driver causes the vehicle to crash. Taya, who is still on the phone, panics and asks Chris if he is okay, but only hears gunshots in reply. Chris somehow manages to take a hiding and spies on the rivals. The butcher holds the Sheikh and his family hostage before brutally killing his little son using a drill. The Sheikh runs to the kid's rescue but is also shot and killed. Chris doesn't get a chance to attack the enemies because Mustafa is constantly firing at him, having found out where he is hiding. In the end, both the butcher and Mustafa leave unharmed. A few days later, Chris and his team return home. Taya is beyond glad to see her husband well and alive. However, after living with him for a few days, she realizes that he is not the same person he was before being deployed. He has turned into a moody man who complains about everything and has forgotten to enjoy life. It is clear that the things he saw and the things he had to do have gotten into his head and changed him as a person. In the following scene, the couple is returning from a trip to the hospital when Taya goes into labor. Chris turns the car back around and a few hours later, a beautiful baby boy is born. At home, Taya encourages Chris to talk about his feelings and experiences. She thinks letting it all out will help him, but he claims that he doesn't want to get into her head and dismisses the conversation. Soon after, he is informed that their team will be heading to Iraq again. Taya doesn't want him to go but knows that he is true to his job. Upon landing in Iraq, they are told that their mission is to hunt down the butcher and Chris is leading the team this time. It turns out that a bounty has been placed on Chris's head by Al-Qaeda since he has killed many of their people. During the first patrol of Butcher's supposed residence, they come across a family. The head of the family claims that they know nothing about the terrorists. The team believes him until Chris notices the mark on his elbow that looks like he was hurt in a war. When no one is looking, Chris goes to search around his room and finds heavy arms and ammunition inside a hidden compartment on the floor. The man is instantly caught and interrogated. To save his life, he promises to help the soldiers get into the building where Butcher is. In the next scene, the troops cautiously surround the said building. The man knocks on the door and is welcomed by his fellow terrorist. He is killed in an instant, followed by the man when he tries picking up a gun. The team then enters the house and finds corpses cut into pieces, which is clearly the Butcher's work. Soon, they are spotted and terrorists backfire. The Butcher flees through a tunnel using the shootout as a distraction. When Chris returns to the US again, he struggles to adjust to his normal life. He is startled by loud noises, which remind him of the war. While he suffers in silence, Taya gives birth to their second child, this time a daughter. Chris goes to see her in the postnatal ward and witnesses the nurse tending to another child while his daughter is crying. He loses his mind over the small incident and yells at the nurses. His strange behavior doesn't go unnoticed by Taya. She frequently tells him that he is never really present in the moment and is always thinking of something. She wants him to talk to her and tell her how he is feeling, but he is not ready to open up yet. In the following scene, Chris's team is back in Iraq chasing down the Butcher's van. When the enemies start to fire, they respond back and run to the nearest building to retaliate with a better view. Suddenly, someone shoots down Chris's companion, Biggles. The group covers Chris while he brings the injured soldier to the vehicle and rushes him to the base. After making sure that he gets proper medical care, the soldiers set off to look for the terrorists again, this time in fury. They turn into killing machines, taking out every enemy they encounter. At one point, they stop at a suspicious house to look for more enemies but are ambushed by the terrorists outside. A soldier named Mark dies in the ensuing shootout. Sometime later, the team returns home with Mark's body and attends his funeral. Chris reveals that he read a letter Mark wrote before his death. He claims that the letter killed him because the guy had given up on life even before he was killed. Because of the letter, Chris has decided to go back for revenge since he cannot let his friend's sacrifice go to waste. Taya tries to convince him otherwise, begging him to stay for his kids. She even tells him that he might return to an empty home, but Chris doesn't listen. When in Iraq, he finds out that Biggles died during surgery. In a usual mission, Chris sees a man with a rocket-propelled grenade getting ready to attack the convoy. He shoots him dead but notices that a kid is trying to pick up the grenade to complete the task. Chris hopes that he doesn't have to kill another boy, and to his relief, the kid runs away when he cannot carry the heavy propeller. In the base, he and his team are told that the administration is trying to build a wall around the city. However, a terrorist has been firing at them from over 1,000 yards away, leading the team to believe it is Mustafa. The soldiers are asked to bring down the sniper at any cost. Despite an oncoming sandstorm blocking their way, the team goes to protect the troops building the wall. They take their positions, aiming in the direction where they think Mustafa is. But he surprises them by firing from the opposite direction and killing a US soldier. Chris quickly tells his people to change their positions and align themselves according to his orders. As he had predicted, he sees movement about 2,100 yards away. Even though the others claim that it is impossible to get a shot from that far, Chris confirms the target to be Mustafa. He whispers 4 Biggles under his breath before pulling the trigger and finally killing the enemy sniper. However, this also causes the other terrorists to hear the gunshot and swarm the roof. A shootout ensues which causes serious damage to both parties. The troop is about to run out of ammo when a sandstorm hits them. Chris believes that he is about to die and calls Taya, telling her that he is ready to return home forever. But right after the call, they decide to use the storm to camouflage and run away. Chris is shot during the chaos, but to his fortune, the soldiers see him running towards them and pull him up. The scene cuts to a few months later. Chris is drinking in a bar when he gets a call from his wife. He still suffers from PTSD from the war and any loud noises scare him. Taya encourages him to go to a psychiatrist, which helps him a lot. He also joins a support group of war veterans and talking to them makes him feel seen. With time, he gets over the trauma and starts to live life freely even though he cannot turn back to his young and carefree self after everything he has seen. Chris reconnects with his family and moves to a new house with them. He also takes his son to hunt as he did with his father. On February 2, 2013, a young and troubled ex-Marine comes to meet him. Chris tells his wife he will be back by evening but never returns. It is later revealed that the ex-Marine who Chris was trying to help, killed him. In the last scene, we are shown the picture of real-life Kyle, his funeral, and Taya delivering a speech in his memory.